data visualization has changed the way we watch sports. Innovations such as the yellow first down line in football and NASCAR's race car tracking system make it much easier for spectators at home to understand what's happening in an event. The man behind all these revolutionary technologies is Stan Honey, who has won 2 Emmys for his work in televised sports technology over the past 25 years. Honey's latest project is the America's Cup, so we headed down to San Francisco's Pier 29 to see how he and his team are applying their skills to the world of sailing.
There we go.
So I'm standing here with Stan Honey, who's the director of technology for this entire America's Cup. What are the particular challenges with sailing, especially when you're trying to graphically represent what's happening?
Sailing is harder than anything we've done before, really for 2 reasons. One is that the camera's in a helicopter, so the helicopter's far away from the race, 1,000 feet, and it's moving all around and it's pitching and rolling. And then the cameras, of course, panning and tilting relative to the helicopter. And we need to measure where the helicopter is within 2 centimeters, and we need to measure the overall orientation of the camera to within 1/100 of a degree in order to superimpose the graphics in the right place. So that's and then we need to measure where everything else is, all of the sailboats and all of the marks. The second hardest part is the fact that all of this stuff is on salt water. And so keeping electronics running on salt water is a major challenge.
How big is your team? Who are the people that have to make all of this happen? This is a pretty big undertaking.
And I've had the great pleasure in my career and working life to be able to work with many of the same people through it. This project was a wonderful opportunity for me to sort of bring the gang back together, and had to pull a few people out of retirement to do it, but it's a great team. Hold off on the finish or turn off your belly before they get to the last reach. It's an interesting exercise when the race is actually going on, in that Alan Trimble, he's the one who operates the live line system. And so he's the overall operator, and then all the rest of us, our job is to make sure everything works. You get a 2-shot. 2-shot. I am directing the helicopter pilot and cameraman where I want them to be and what I want them to look at, and then I can more easily put elements in a clever way. It's easy to clutter up a visual world, and it's easy to confuse an audience with too much material. There's 2 really key pieces to a system like this. One is a clock. Everything needs to know what time it is very, very accurately, so that you can combine things together that happened at the same time. The other thing is measuring where things are extremely carefully and very quickly. If you know where everything is, and you know what time it was that it was there, then you can glue all the pieces together.
Stand by on this one. So Artemis looking for some speed, trying to track down the Italians.
Our team is almost all sailors. There was an intentional decision early on, a couple years ago, to not have sailors in the production. The idea was to show this from the view of non-sailors and to build it into a new sport that people would understand. That direction changed over time, and ultimately we're sailors covering sailing for a sailing audience.
Okay.
It's only just started copy up now.
All right, so I'm standing here with Mark Sheffield, AKA Chef, who's the onboard media manager here at America's Cup. Yes. Tell me, what does that mean?
Well, my job is to make sure we get all our equipment on board, all the boats, both the 45s and the AC-72s, ready for racing, from our tracking pellies here, and also working with the onboard camera teams to make sure we've got the cameras on in the right places around the boat.
Okay, so tell me what all of this stuff is. Is this all stuff that is on each craft out there?
Yeah, this is my baby. This is our tracking pelly. Inside here is the GPS and the processor that allow us to track each boat to within 2 centimeter accuracy around the race course.
Wow, what kind of stuff is inside of here? Can you give me some sort of a rundown?
So there's a CNS 5000, which is an IMU, inertial measurement unit, and a processor that allows us to talk to the GPS and have all the data interfaces to allow us to talk to the crew and give them information about what's going on the race course at the same time.
Explain to me some of these other things. What are these lights?
So lots more people wanted to use the really good quality data. So it's been run for the race management and the umpiring. And then and we've got the virtual boundary around the race course, so the sailors had to be able to understand where that was. So we've given them tools through displays on the boats and various lights. When a boat's getting close to the limit, they get into the zone, which is in the 3 boat lengths, and this green light will flash. And this yellow light on the beam, you'll see in a lot of the photographs, is flashing at different intervals. And as you get closer to the interval of the boundary, that flashes faster and faster. And they have a little number countdown here to help them as well. And if they go outside the boundary, they'll get a penalty, and that's when the blue light comes on, and that will be on the aft horn at the back of the boat and on the beam. And they'll also get a number on the display to say they've been penalised.
What do you love about this project? What is your favorite part?
I mean, we came in to do an impossible project, which was to track boats at 2 centimetres and cover them with a helicopter. We've done that. Then we've done more, we've done the race management, the umpiring. It's just development. It's always all go. I mean, in the last couple of weeks, we've taken on some of the safety projects for the sailors. We've developed safety lights. So we've got these strobes that when the sailors, if they get submerged, these 2 contactors go underwater and then the lights will flash. So we haven't stopped, and it's been the development. It's just been fascinating.
So a clean start as the speeds accelerate. Now this is just the first race to mark number 1. It will be Artemis.
What's the benefit of all of this? What is the final product like for someone who's watching this race? I mean, you've been on boats while they're racing. I'm sure the energy is crazy there. Is that being represented better now here with these tools?
I think the benefit is to make sailing more accessible to sports fans who aren't yet sailing fans. And one of the difficulties in sailing is, it's a race, but yet the boats are often going 90 degrees different from one another. And so sports fans who aren't sailors will look at that and say, if it's a race, why are they going in different directions? But if you show the boundaries of the course and you show the 100-meter lines, it looks so much like a football field that all sports fans correctly interpret it. They say, oh, I get it. Those are the yard lines. Whoever's furthest down the race course is ahead. And the fact that the boats are sailing perpendicular to one another doesn't trouble them. They can figure it out very quickly. And so basically the objective is the same as the objectives of all the other systems we've done, which is to take things that are important to the sport, hard to see, and make them easy to see.
Well, Stan, thank you so much for talking to us.
Oh, my pleasure.